Hi everyone, my name is JC Basinger. I'm the lead pastor of Hope Community Church. We're a church planted in Queen Creek, Arizona. I want to welcome you to this episode of Ask the Pastor. Today's question is about Jesus, and the question is, did Jesus need to have faith in God? When we think of Jesus and we think of faith, let's figure out what we mean by faith. Now, was Jesus a sinner that needed to trust in salvation? In order to be saved, that there was a separation between him and God, and that's why he needed to have faith? Well, we would say no. But if we think of faith instead of knowledge or a mental assent to something or a belief about something, if we think of it even deeper as trust, did Jesus trust God? Would say absolutely, Jesus trusted the Father. We see, for example, in Hebrews 12:2, that Jesus is the founder and perfecter of our faith. Let me read that passage for us real briefly here. Hebrews 12:2 says, "Looking to Jesus, the founder and perfecter of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is seated at the right hand of the throne of God." In order to be a founder, you have to possess it, right? So Jesus, I think, was not only the founder, but the perfecter of our faith, meaning that Jesus lived perfectly as a human, trusting in God the Father. You see, Adam and Eve had a choice whether to trust God or to trust in themselves or to trust a serpent. They chose to trust the serpent and his temptation rather than trusting God and God's promises. We also see that Jesus had a similar temptation where Satan 3 times tried to tempt Jesus in the wilderness, and each time Jesus chose to trust God and his word rather than the tempter and the promises that the tempter was offering Jesus. We see another example of Jesus having faith. Jesus in Luke 23, verse 46, then Jesus, calling out with a loud voice, said, "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit." Those are words of faith. Those are words of trust. Trusting that after Jesus died, that he would be in glory with his Father. One final passage, just to drive home the point. John 6:38 tells us this. "For I have come down from heaven not to do my own will, but the will of him who sent me." Jesus is speaking of his human will, and he is submitting his human will. See, Jesus has two wills, a divine will, because he's fully God, but also a human will, because he's fully human. He is submitting his human will to the will of his Father. That takes faith, that takes trust, trusting that the Father's will is better than his own will, his own desires. Finally, when we think of our salvation, we are often told that we are united to Christ, that we are found in him, and he is found in us. And we receive all the blessings and benefits that pertains to. Jesus is justified, and we are justified. Jesus is holy, and we are made holy and conformed into his image. Jesus is glorified. We are promised to be glorified as well. And I think we can look at Ephesians 2:8 and 9 and talk about, "For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not your own doing. It is a gift of God, not a result of work, so that no one may boast." I think we are able to receive that gift of faith because Jesus accomplished faith on our behalf. We can look at it this way. Jesus is the most human person to ever walk the earth, because to be made in the image of God, the purpose was to be in fellowship with God, unbroken, perfect fellowship with the Father. And Jesus maintained that throughout his earthly ministry. Well, I hope that helps. I would encourage you to send me more questions. You can go to jc@hopecc.church. Send me an email. Would love to answer any questions. If you have any further questions or want to talk more about that, please comment below.